Want to know the latest and hottest music hitting the airwaves? Don't be left out. Listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Music Podcast. Jordan and Keith keeps you on the loop with everything you need to know.
Jordan
and Keith.
From pop, rock, hip-hop, and the top 40. And we'll throw in news of your favorite artists, concert and tour dates, and so much more. Listen no further, because this is the gold standard in music podcast.
Welcome to the Golden State Media Concepts Music Podcast. Today we got a special treat for you. We're bringing you the best of the GSMC Music Podcast. So today we're going to start off with Oddisee's Odd Tape, then go on to Stephen Marley's Revelation Part II, The Fruit of Life, and then we are going to go to David Bowie's Blackstar. Up first, Oddisee's The Odd Tape.
But speaking of, this reminds me, we have another album that we have to review on this podcast.
You are right.
So, speaking of
Oddisee, yes.
Oddisee, The Odd Tape.
Yeah, and it's Oddisee. So where did we start? Who wants to?
I didn't like it at first. I thought it was like music that I'd listened to in a bookstore at first.
Okay.
I think that was the nicest version I could say. But as I listened to it more, it really did grow on me, and it grew on me. I didn't like it right off the bat pretty quickly, and then I started loving it even faster.
Yeah.
Can I just say?
Me too, yes.
I loved it. It was so good.
That's the most emotion I've ever seen.
Okay, because I loved it because after the avalanches, excuse me, and then after we did DJ Shadow, right, a while back.
Yeah, The Mountain Will Fall.
Exactly.
DJ Shadow, yeah.
This one was
That's why I picked this album.
Oh, see? And I was like, this is what, to me, like an instrumental type album should sound like.
Yes.
Brea was so good. And I made a point.
And there's a video for that, so make sure you check it out.
I will check it out.
It's a cool video, too.
But what do you think about this? And if anyone's listening, tell me I'm totally correct here.
Oh, my God. I'm sorry, but you were so excited right now.
This album was good.
That's what music does to us, though.
Yeah, but this album, like in particular, was like really
it's
good.
It's a great album, yeah.
It was. I
think this one's going to be.
To this record, you can do all
Can we
kinds
talk
of things.
about Brea? That was.
Yeah.
It's a great song.
Well,
that's his first single.
I had a point that I wanted to bring up to you. Was Brea, like the last 25 seconds when the beat changes, the little beat drops?
Yes.
Don't you think the RZA would do so good on that?
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah.
Like if that beat
Definitely.
would, like if he like Inspector Deck and Killer B were to like jump on that for like a good 2 minutes, that would have been so good.
So Oddisee, if you get the RZA with Inspector Deck,
exactly.
And who else you said?
Killer B
and Killer B. On your tracks from this point on, you got to give us credit for it, bro.
Yeah. Or even just let me be there.
We're like patent trolls. We're taking credit for every little possible thing.
Not even if you get one of them. If you just let me be there while you record it, I'd be so happy.
Oh, okay, yeah. I hear you.
Me too.
Well, so here's what I want to say about this record. So there's other people, other producers who, so they'll put out instrumentals like Dr. Dre's Chronic 2001?
2001.
So eventually the instrumental version of that album came out, but only after the vocal version came out first. Jay Dilla, he'll put out an album, he'll have instrumentals, but he'll have vocals still on that same album. So Pete Rock did do one instrumental album called Pete Instrumentals. He did two of them now, I believe. So there are rappers, and Madlib. So Madlib will do like an instrumental album, but I believe he has rappers rapping on that instrumental album. But when he raps, he goes by the moniker of Quasimoto.
Okay.
So he speeds up his voice, and it's a whole different ball game with his production still. So what sets Oddisee apart from all those guys is Oddisee, who's a rapper and producer. Oddisee will put out a record like The Good Fight, where he's just rhyming over his own beats, and then his next album will be all instrumental. Period. So
and we've talked about that, and that was always a really interesting thing to see.
Yes,
because
with the evolution of hip hop,
they follow. I mean, these two different directions he goes. They both really. I think even if instrumentals aren't your type of music to listen to, that you need lyrics, this is still something that I feel like you should give it a chance. This isn't really necessarily going to ruin that for you.
Well, and for those who think the rap is not real music or that there's no musicianship in it.
Oh, yeah, listen to that too, you naysayers.
Oddisee is going to prove you wrong. Show and prove. When I saw him in concert, live band, with the DJ. So it was amazing. So, but yeah, this record, the Odd Tape, I like it a lot too. I think it's a great instrumental album. It's very soulful, very warm.
It feels really easy to freestyle to in a serious, in a just a not so serious kind of way. Yeah. It felt like and that's really cool whenever you're as like an instrumental rap album where you have that ability where people that don't do this professionally or they just don't really do it, they still feel like they can get onto it. You know what I mean?
Well, did you feel like too that it was an instrumental rap album, but did you feel like it was also like an instrumental jazz album?
I did. No, and that's where that bookstore comparison came in because at first it did feel like this jazz fusion. Which
that's what I thought. I thought it was a little like a Tribe Called Questy, but in a good way.
Oh yeah,
but
that's a compliment, bro.
Right? But,
yeah.
The more I listened, I love how like in any one song the beat will change maybe 2 times, 3 times, but they were all good. That's the difference between this one and the other. And, and it totally it all just flowed to me. Even if it goes from like a jazzier sound to like a really classical Wu-Tangy beat sound, I just loved it.
I agree.
I love this album. This is going to make me go back. I'll check out. I want to see Oddisee go off on albums. I feel like he could.
Oh yeah, I mean, like I said, it's good stuff. I mean, you guys mentioned Brea. You guys love that song, which is cool. That's his first single.
I think that was my favorite.
I said, so all you guys out there, check out Oddisee. Watch that video. It's a cool video, and it's funny because I didn't really pay attention to the song after I watched the video. Ironically for me, but yeah, I like that song. I love Right Side of the Bed. I love let's see, Silver Lining. I like a lot. I mean, the whole album is just great. It's a cool record. I enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. It has a nice warm feeling, and as we were saying before too, and I feel like that's what DJ Shadow's The Mountain Will Fall was missing, is that it didn't have that organic, soulful feel that this album has.
Yeah, it felt too overdone. I think DJ Shadow's album.
Oh, there it is. Yeah. So
overdone. Yeah. Kind of like food overdone.
Well, no, overdone in the sense that it sounded like every song started okay, and then instruments came on, and then more instruments came on, and then more, and then it was just too much.
Okay, so it's overdone to you. That's
So tracks. So On the Table. That's a great track. Track 6. That's a good one. And then, Out at Night. That's another great album. I mean, another song. I mean, these are some of my favorites from this album. But yeah, it's definitely worth picking up. And like I said, it's you can just sit back, maybe even read a book to this, drive to this. You can write to this. It just has a very comfortable, warm feeling when you listen to the record.
It does.
That's the best way I can describe it.
This was a good
I feel record. Like there's a bear rug, and there's a bearskin rug and a fireplace, and just a couple bottles of wine. And
well, there it is, man. That's a compliment
this kind
too.
Of album.
Yeah, but it's a good record, and amen to musicianship and seeing how hip hop has evolved, where you have MCs who are producers who give you a great rap album. Exactly. And they give you a good instrumental album because they can and they want to.
The catalog is impressive. Yeah. And I mean, if we're talking what you feel when the bear rug, and what I feel when I think of this one?
What?
I think of at the end of the year, if we do a top album wrap up, this is in my discussion.
Yeah, I agree.
So far, at least.
I agree.
And it's an instrumental album.
Yes.
And
it's available on vinyl now too. It wasn't at first, but now you can get it on vinyl if you want.
Do you think this is one of your favorite albums that we've talked about right now? I mean,
this is definitely my favorite instrumental album that we've talked
definitely
about so far.
Well, 1 out of 2 though, but yeah, I think this one definitely.
No, 1 out of 3 or 4, but also considering I never thought an instrumental album, I never thought I'd like it this much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
this one's up there with some of my favorite albums, regular albums that we've done this year.
And that's the whole point, and that's what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
That's when you're
I
good,
agree with you.
Artist.
Yeah. No, and it did feel like that. It felt like it definitely didn't need lyrics, and it made me really want to go back and listen to everything else Oddisee because, I mean, he's just great. He really is.
So he's doing his job because when any artist can do that to you.
Yeah,
they've done their job. So and that's all you ever really hope for when you're a musician, is to make music that inspires people, and make them feel a certain good way, and want to go back and check out everything else.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to be a one-off. So so cool. But so for those of you who, as Jordan said, the naysayers, rap is real, hip hop is real. the production is real.
Oh,
if anything, the production in hip hop has evolved and may have arguably regressed in rock and roll, ironically.
Oh yeah.
So
I'm not even gonna start that because I can rant forever about the soul of hip hop.
Yeah,
we'll save that for
another time. But but this album is you can get so you can get it on DVD. On CD or vinyl.
Thank you for listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Best of Music podcast. I'm your host, Shay Northrup, and in a minute we are going to be getting to Stephen Marley's Revelations 2, The Fruit of Life. You won't want to miss it.
Check out the show that's built on the MMA. From the UFC to extreme cage fighting, they got the fights covered. Check out the GSMC MMA podcast. Get the latest news on past or upcoming fights. Join us as we talk to and about some of the biggest names in the MMA, past, present, and future. When it's the fight game, there's just one show to check out. GSMCpodcast.com/MMA-podcast. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
Hey, welcome back. This is Keith. I'm with my co-host, Mariano.
Hola.
Jordan.
How's it going?
Golden State Media Concepts Music Review Podcast, baby. Episode 17.
17.
There we go. Yes, and we just talked about Gucci Mane, everybody looking. And now it's time for Stephen Marley with Revelation Part II, The Fruit of Life. So, yeah, this album.
Can I jump right on this album?
Please do.
I loved... okay. This was so different for reggae. I've never heard an album with features like
amazing features.
but like
diverse,
exactly,
young and old features.
Busta Rhymes.
I love it. I loved this album.
Yes,
I was so excited whenever we were like getting this to review.
Me too.
I had such high hopes. It was better than what I hoped for.
The son of Bob Marley does not disappoint.
Yeah, I was going to say, he delivered. I know.
The Marley family is the first family of reggae, and Stephen just reinforced that.
I think he reinforced that they're the best.
Yes.
Definitely. Without a doubt, that album was like so fun to listen to.
Yes. Well, what's awesome about this record, too, and let me say this real quick, is that so Stephen got his start with his brother Ziggy, with Ziggy Marley and the Melody Makers. So he's been doing this since he was like a teenager, a preteen. But, Stephen is known for his production in the past 10 years or so, producing a lot of Damian Jr. and his little brother stuff. What's great about this record is you see Stephen Marley consciously putting all these different people on his record to reach out to the youth who are not familiar with reggae music. He's definitely recognizing hip hop and other genres by putting these people on this record, dude. I mean, Cardinal Official, he's got
Busta Rhymes on the album.
He's got Rakim from Eric B and Rakim. He's got so many different people, diverse. It's a great list of people, but I feel like this was a reggae album that he was trying to cross over to get the urban audience to check out reggae music.
And just to evolve. Rakim is like a hip hop legend.
He's one of the greatest of all time.
That was really well said, Keith. I totally agree. I think that we were very close to me not listening to the Gucci Mane album because I couldn't put down this, Stephen Marley album. I was listening
it's a great
to
record. It's a great record.
It's been my background music and it's been my forefront.
He's got his brothers on the album too. He's got Damien on here. He's got Kimani on here. He's got Waka Flocka on here. He's got but Stephen's trying to get everybody.
Yeah, I don't like Waka Flocka as a rapper or whatever he is, but
he doesn't do it for me either. Yeah. But I respected his verse. Well, I liked what he said. I wasn't real happy with his delivery, but I liked his verse. I liked what he wrote. He wrote was from the heart and sincere. I could tell that.
Yeah. Well, I don't like him overall. Yeah, it does make sense because I don't like him overall. But his feature was a good one, and I'm surprised to see him on this album. But it was a pleasant surprise.
Yeah. Well, I agree. I mean, Rick Ross, dude. He got Rick Ross with Kimani Marley. But like I said, Stephen's like, I'm hitting all the fronts. I'm gonna give you some great, dope reggae. And I'm going to give you people that you know, that you like, who are down with the reggae. So, because, he's trying to fulfill his father's dream.
Oh, yeah.
The Marleys are very successful as a family of musicians. When you think of reggae music, you cannot help but think of, Bob Marley, Peter Tosh, Bunny Wailer, Gregory Isaacs, so many other people.
When you consider some of the better albums of any genre of all time, when you're really, really up there, even in a broader sense, it's hard to skip Bob Marley.
Well, yeah. He basically became the king of reggae.
Right.
He died in his prime, so kind of, man. But yeah, Stephen, this is a great album. We definitely recommend this album. The Father of the Man, although the hook is Keeper of the Flame with Wyclef Jean. I love that track.
I love Wyclef Jean.
Oh yeah, me too. It was good to see him pair back up with them again, because for a while they had, they had broken ties for a little while back in the day. Shaggy's on this record. We haven't heard him in
I haven't
ages.
heard from Shaggy since Angel.
Exactly. So Black Thought from the Roots is on here. DJ Khaled. Stephen reached wide and deep to get a little bit of everybody to celebrate this record with him.
I'm glad that everybody agreed to jump on this record, but I think, not that this is a bad thing at all, I'm glad that he, as Stephen Marley, had the clout to approach these people and be like, hey, look, this is a reggae album, but I'd like you to be featured on it.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
They go,
and it's all his production.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so he came with it. It's a great album. He is an 8-time Grammy winner. I didn't even realize that.
He deserves it.
Yeah, he sounds like his father, and he doesn't.
Man.
Here's the thing about Bob Marley and his kids. Bob Marley does not always sound the same.
Right.
So all of his sons sound like him, but different instances.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I understand what you mean. It's almost like he was split off into 3 different parts of Bob Marley. Yeah.
Yeah. Because if you listen to Easy Skankin' from Kaya, Steven sounds like that Bob Marley. But when you listen to Iron Lion Zion, Ziggy Marley sounds like that Bob Marley. So it's they all sound like their father. You hear that influence. And then if Bob was doing dancehall, he'd be Junior Gone. So
I agree. No, I think it's really interesting, but I feel like this, and you guys, I'm going to say what you guys have been touching on this entire time. This album felt like it had so much depth, that had so many layers around it. There were so many songs that just transitioned into a totally different mood, a totally different mindset.
That intro,
it was almost like it was like a roller coaster ride, where it's just constantly taking you through its ups and downs together.
Oh yeah, and dude, that intro, the very first song on this album is a sample from a Charlie Chaplin film, the Dictator.
Really?
Yeah, he sampled that and used that, The Great Dictator from Charlie Chaplin. So Stephen, I'm thinking that's some reggae dude, but no. So that intro where he talks about wanting to serve man, and we all
have it within it, right?
So Stephen starts the album off with just a positive vibe. This is reggae music. This is loving, healing music, and this is for all of us, And it's great.
It had a really cool effect on me personally too, because I went straight from Gucci Mane to this album, and after listening to some more gritty, and kind of battling with myself to be unbiased, because I knew I didn't like Gucci Mane, but I did like this album.
Right.
The first thing I hear is all, as human beings, we all have it within us to care for one another. I was like, okay. It kind of cleansed my palate in a cool way.
And you need that.
Right.
And I think reggae music might be even more important now more than ever because of what's going on in our world today. So, musically, we love music. We do this podcast because we love music, and we want to share that with you. We want to share our love of music with all of you out there in the world. And, talking about this record is one of the reasons why I do this. So this album is going to get a 10 from me, 11 to 12, really.
Yeah.
So
a 10.
I'd say a 10 too. Definitely.
Yeah. So it's a great record. It's diverse. You don't get tired of the different guest spots.
No, they're all good, and all the songs sound different.
Prez,
they all just fit. Dead Prez.
Yeah. He came with. He gave you. Everybody.
He came with Busta Rhymes, Dead Prez,
Twister, dude.
Rakim,
he came with Twister.
He knows his hip hop.
Yeah, and then he finishes off with Pitbull. But I like that track though. But
I like that track too.
This is still produced by Steven.
And that's part of the thing that I said it was a transition. And you guys understand what I'm saying by that, right? What
do you mean?
Well, it seems like with how well it was done, and you have these different styles, these different artists that are in these different tracks. It's almost like it pushes. Normally you listen to an album when you're feeling like upset, or you're listening to it whenever you're happy. Right. This is something that I feel like it can take you through a ride of different emotions. It could take you through a ride of different feelings.
Yes.
With these different stylings coming to this one album.
Part 1's a good album too, but I think Part 2 is even better.
I agree. I listened to some of Part 1. I think this one really blows it out of the water. Not to say Part 1 was bad. This was just.
Can I just touch on one quick point that we had brought up in a previous podcast, and that's that people of older generations may listen to one form of music like punk, Sex Pistols era, and then listen to newer Blink-182 and think that it just doesn't fit. I think that I have 2 points to make. I think that number one, this is a great evolution. If future reggae is going to take this kind of turn to a similar caliber, then I'm really excited for it. And the second point I want to make is the newer reggae, a little more rock type reggae like 311 and Sublime. I like both those. In fact, Sublime and 311, but more Sublime, are probably at the very, very core of my musical taste, at least somewhat. If I had to choose 6 or 7 distinct artists of any genre to keep forever and nothing else, one of them at least would be there.
Okay.
And I love this album more so than any of those albums. And people go hard for Sublime.
Sure.
So if you're a Sublime fan and you're listening to this podcast, check out this album. I promise you.
Stephen Marley.
Right.
Yes.
Stephen Marley's The Revelation Part II, The Fruit of Life.
Yes.
You will not regret it.
Not at all. It reaches, it covers all the angles, literally. Right. It really does.
It does.
So, this is
you guys can back up what I said, right? You can see that, right?
Oh, yeah. This is a great introduction to reggae. If this is your first time listening to reggae, I don't want you going out there getting Bob Marley's Legend album. That's a cliche. Don't, because Bob Marley was so much more than just that greatest hits record. But, if this is your first time listening to reggae, this is a great album to start with. It is. To let you know that reggae is conscious, it's aware, and, reggae artists like hip-hop and R&B and soul, too.
Yeah.
Man.
So sometimes, too often we start boxing ourselves in these corners and I can't be this, I can't be, no, you can be all those things.
Is this the most feature-filled album you've ever heard?
I think it might be, man. Yeah,
me too.
And one of them,
me too, really.
And the best.
But it all worked perfectly.
I think this is also the best feature-filled album I've ever heard.
If you told somebody how the amount of people and how who those people were that were all in one album, they'd probably think this was like a charity compilation kind of thing.
It worked.
it worked out really well.
That charity came out.
I know.
And we are coming up on another break. Up next, we are going to hear about David Bowie's Blackstar. You're not going to want to miss it. Stick around.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Starting off, David Bowie released this record, Blackstar, and it's a great record. He died shortly after his 69th birthday this January, so rest in peace, Mr. Bowie. That was one of the first deaths in music to rock the world. David Bowie was a visionary and a pioneer in rock and roll music. So David Bowie was one of those few rock and roll artists that transcended for everyone in American culture. Everybody knew who he was. If you're from Generation X or a baby boomer, you knew who he was. And Blackstar is a fitting farewell album. It's a great record. It's Bowie at his finest. Now, reading about Blackstar right before it came out and after it came out, he cited through his musical producer and friend Tony Visconti, that he had been influenced by Kendrick Lamar when making the record. So I'm thinking, okay, well, Bowie's cool, and he would say something like that, but is it true? And then I listened to the record, and yeah, I totally see it. This record's great. First of all, the song Blackstar was the first single and first video from the record. Great song. What I like about the song, besides the sonic quality of it, it's that it's not a 3-minute and 30-second song for radio. So yeah, radio's probably not going to play this song because it's over 7 minutes long. It's 9 minutes and 57 seconds long. It's beautiful. Very old school. I love that. You know, people get so concerned with, I have to have a song that has to be 4 minutes or shorter so the radio will play it. Don't always be so concerned with that. Just make good music. Just let it ride. If it feels good, it feels good. If it feels good after 5 minutes, let it go. If it feels good after 3 minutes, that's fine too. But don't get in that mind frame that it has to be under 4 minutes. That's a pet peeve. I don't like that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, lyrically speaking, it's like David Bowie with this record, he like wrote lyrics that are hip hop oriented, and I can actually hear like Kendrick Lamar writing some of these lyrics or actually rapping these lyrics, but he did it. So Bowie has these lyrics that have a hip hop feel to them, but with his rock and roll aesthetic. And I'll show you what I mean. We talk about lyrics like from Dollar Days, and let's see, The Girl Loves Me. So I'm going to have Jordan read some of the lyrics from The Girl Loves Me.
Yeah, okay. We've got Making All the Omies Mad.
Keep reading.
Thursday, Popo Blind to the Poly, and The Hole by the Friday. Where the F did Monday go? I'm cold to this pig and pug show. So
sounds like Kendrick, doesn't it?
yeah. No, I see what you mean. Like, there's definitely influence there.
Yeah,
I think that you.
But it's still done with the Bowie aesthetic. It's brilliant.
I think you were talking about overall that you were just kind of blown away with this album, right? I mean, from track to track, you just really loved it.
Right, but I mean, are there any more lyrics for you to read from that song? No, I was making a point with that.
Okay, I'm sitting in the chestnut tree. Who the F's gonna mess with me? Girl loves me. Hey, Sheena, girl loves me.
Yeah, I mean, that's Bowie. But if I read that to you and not say David Bowie, you would think that was some rapper that you loved or hated. So I love that a rock and roll pioneer is open-minded, because you have other rock and roll people who have a open disdain for hip-hop, possibly because they don't understand it, they can't assimilate it, they can't emulate it. I don't know what the reasons are, so they just dismiss it. But I like that Bowie was always open-minded, and I believe that he understood that hip-hop has become the new rock and roll for America today. So
I see what you mean, and I definitely think that Bowie is someone who, you know, you have people like you heard about the whole Rock and Roll Hall of Fame where, you know, the Kiss was. Gene Simmons had a problem with the whole hip hop being included.
Yes,
thing. Yes. I don't think I could ever see that with Bowie. And
right.
I think that's just part of the, you know, that's part of the magic, because he is someone that you feel is like all accepting, just very wise.
Well, and when
he's a mythical creature, I think.
Well, exactly. And then when you hear this record, it has that like a progressive rock, indie rock, alternative rock feel to it. It's modern rock. This guy's almost 70 years old, still pushing the envelope. What people love about Bowie is that he pushed the envelope, that he always tried to do something different. But then I think that sometimes that worked against him, because people were so stuck on, you know, Space Oddity, you know, Ground Control and Major Tom, and Fashion and Fame and Low and his early albums, that by the time he did stuff like Let's Dance, some people were like, oh, that's his pop sellout record, I don't like it. No, Bowie had to challenge himself. That's what he did. He was one of those rare few rock and roll artists that got better the older he got. He got better. He aged very gracefully, very well, you know, and that's rare for rock stars.
I think, but your overall opinion on the album, you kind of think it's, I mean, it's, what would you say? Just great, just all around. Like,
it's a great record. Yeah. I mean, there's.
What's the first word that comes to mind to you whenever you think, you know, you're talking about it?
Well, I mean, it's just, I mean, it's a great bittersweet record, because I mean, it may be his last record. We're not quite sure. There might be more to come. I mean, he made this record knowing that he was dying. I mean, and
I think that shows, in my opinion. I mean, really, what really gets me is it feels somber the entire time. It feels like melancholy, and I don't think, I'm not really sure if I feel that way because I know, Bowie's death was there. And it kind of it shook things up a little bit. But I couldn't listen to the album for the longest time because I knew I was going to, I wasn't going to handle it well. I was going to be emotional. I really did love Bowie. And for, months, I went by without hearing it because I knew that's going to kill me too. So when I did listen to it, exactly what I thought was going to happen. I was very upset, but I can't deny it's an amazing album. It really is. It's a masterpiece. But
I agree.
It feels very sad because it does feel like a goodbye, and that's hard to shake off.
And you get that feeling when you listen to the last track, I Can't Give Everything Away.
Honestly, I also felt that on the first track, the Blackstar, as well.
Okay. Yeah.
That was something, almost, as I listened to it, it feels like a 9-minute long funeral dirge because it's just, it's so instrumental, and it's so... It's complex and it's beautiful, but I think that's the beauty. I think if David Bowie was still alive, would just be plain beautiful, just something that's inspiring. But at this point, it's kind of sad. It's sad, but in a good way. It's the sad that you want to listen to.
Bittersweet, as I said before.
Bittersweet. There we go.
So I mean,
it's a
in
bittersweet
this lyrics,
symphony.
Different group, bro. But go Dollar Days. We have some of the lyrics from that song too. That. I wanted you to...
Dollar Days with Cash Girls Suffer Me, I've Got No Enemies. I'm walking down, it's nothing to me, it's nothing to see. If I'll ever see the English evergreens I'm running to, it's nothing to me, it's nothing to see. So...
Yeah. So, I mean, hip hop again, I hear that Kendrick influence. I hear David liking rap music and wanting to infuse that with his music because he wants to do something new. And he just made it great. And I can't give everything away. He definitely does say goodbye. But
I felt like he was saying goodbye even then. I mean, you heard the lyrics. I was just saying that was literally almost a goodbye. That song's... That song ends with I'm trying to, I'm dying to, I'm trying to. It's... that's the whole entire album just reeks of this feeling that I just can't listen to it. I really can't listen to it unless I'm very prepared. But I think that just goes to show how great Bowie is.
I agree.
I have been Shane Northrup, and this has been the Golden State Media Concepts Best of Music podcast. If you like what you heard, you can find us on Google Play, Stitcher, SoundCloud, iTunes, and GoldenStateMediaConceptspodcast.com.